All right, so we're live.
Alive.
Matty Georges, welcome to Stories Unlocked.
Harry George, thank you for having me.
Can't remember what season or episode it is, but I guess let's get straight into it.
Let's do it.
Take us right back as far as you can remember. What was it like growing up in the Georges family? 5 years old, 4 years old, how far can you remember?
Well, my earliest memory of my life is actually myself in tears after the Roosters lost the grand final in 2004
That was a great year.
to the Bulldogs.
That was a great year.
And I know you're a passionate Bulldogs fan yourself. So
And that was Euro 2004.
yes, as a proud Greek man, I know that was a great year for anyone that loved blue and white. So my earliest memory was from when I was about 4 years old, and my childhood was actually awesome. Bar that memory, obviously, I very fortunate to have grown up in a very proud and very strong Lebanese Australian household, and I've got a brother who's 2 years younger than me and a sister who's 11 years younger than me, actually. So it's a big gap there, but very blessed and very fortunate to have been family household with two amazing parents who gave me every opportunity to succeed in life. So really good memories as a kid.
And as a younger kid, did you go on trips?
Yeah, no, I was very lucky that my parents, I grew up in a stable household, and family trips and family holidays to Lebanon, and to see some cousins in America, because we've got some cousins in Boston and Pittsburgh. So very fortunate and very blessed to be able to go on trips. And, my mum is a very outgoing person. So even trips down to the snow during the winter to get us skiing, and Sundays were spent obviously playing footy with all of our teams that we're playing for, as well as nippers. My mum got us into nippers early, so doing surf lifesaving. My mum was a very outgoing, quirky person, so very fortunate that had a lot of activities that we got to do growing up.
Good stuff. And what did your father do?
So my dad's worked in the same office, same desk for 30 years.
Wow.
He's a commercial property manager at City Freeholds. So He's been at Castlereagh Street in the city before I was born. And then my mum used to work at Wesley College, which is part of the Sydney Uni system, and she used to raise grants for scholarships. And now she works at Disaster Relief Australia in a national role. So two very different walks of life, my parents, and I guess both of their journeys have led me to where I am today in my character, which is obviously a very versatile and very quirky guy.
What area did you grow up in? Sydney?
Sydney. So I was born in Ashfield Hospital, so I grew up in Croydon my whole life, and then went to school in Strathfield, primary school at St Martha's in Strathfield, and then moved over to St Pat's College in Strathfield as well, and stayed there all the way to year 10, and then moved to Newington for year 11 and 12, which is a big culture shock. All
right, let's bring it back. Kindergarten.
Yes.
Were you the popular kid in the school ground? What was Matty George's like? Kindergarten, year one, early days.
Well,
what was going on?
I was always a very confident kid. Like I was always bigger than everyone else. Like I'm 6'2" now, and even back when I was younger, I was always the bigger kid. And I was very lucky. I never really struggled from a bullying standpoint or anything like that. Thankfully, I think I was a bit too big to be bullied. But man, I was always very lucky. I had a lot of friends, had my little cliques. I was the leader of a couple little groups, little childhood gangs and whatnot. But I was always that kid that was good at sports. So I flew through school, and I was lucky that I was gifted with a pretty half decent brain as well, where I didn't have to study too hard, and things came quite naturally to me. So I loved my schooling experience at all three schools that I went to. So school was awesome.
And back in primary school, what sport were you into?
I was a rugby league man. Like I was
rugby league,
diehard rugby league. I was always I could name you every single player from every single team from the moment I was like 6 years old. So my dad used to play Jersey flag for the Roosters, so became quite good friends with guys like Brad Fittler, Ivan Cleary. So we were always, brought up in a strong rugby league based household, and I naturally always played basketball and other things like that. Loved NFL because a lot of my cousins in Boston and whatnot. So, but league was my sport. Rugby
league, eh? Okay, well, let's fast forward. You hit high school. What school were you at again?
So I went to St. Pat's in Strathfield. I started there in 2010, so I was in year 5, and then stayed there all the way up to year 10. I loved my time at St. Pat's. I was there with quite a number of my cousins and friends, and like I said before, I'm proud Lebanese Australian, so we had a lot of Lebanese people there, and so I was very comfortable there and whatnot. Played rugby and in the A's and all that kind of jazz, and then eventually
In the A's.
had to say it. Nah, but I love the competitive nature of a school like St. Pat's. Like it was very competitive, and it definitely morphed me into the man I am today. And around year 10, my parents said, it's probably time to make a change. You're a bit comfortable here and getting into a bit of mischief. So eventually the time came to make the move. And it's funny how I ended up at Newington. I didn't even know what the school was, to be honest with you. I had no idea that school even existed, and I didn't want to go to a school like posh.
Yeah, daunting.
Yeah. Well, it was so different. It was a world removed from St. Pat's, and I didn't want to go to that. I said that quote unquote posh school.
Yeah.
My dad said, go down for an interview and you might like it. And I walk in and this place looks like freaking Hogwarts. Like I'm like, man, this is like 3 times bigger than the school I'm currently at. I don't want to be here. I don't want to go to a school like this. I probably won't even get accepted, because I've been suspended a few times. A bit of a mischievous kid. And
hold on. We skipped that bit.
On purpose.
Okay, all right. You got up to a bit of mischief back in school.
Yeah.
Hey, George's. Let's talk about it.
Oh man, I was like I said, I was just at a school where I was so comfortable. Like I was at a school with a lot of my relatives, a lot of people from my own kind, and I definitely treated the teachers in a way I'm definitely not proud of now. But it was always harmless kind of stuff, But I definitely used to speak my mind from an early age, and little things like if the school told me to wear a school bag, well, no, I want to wear my sports bag because that's more comfortable. And then if a science teacher tells me, Matt, change your sport bag to a school bag, I'd say, well, you're just a science teacher. If it's an executive, I'll listen.
So the thug life chose you from an early age.
Very early age. I was anti-authority from the moment I could walk. But it was always the little things like that. Even going to a school like St. Pat's, you had to play rugby union if you played rugby league on the weekends. Like they used to make you play. It was a Saturday sport, and I never wanted to because I was like, that's going to take away from my rugby league on Sundays. Yeah. So I'd lie to the school, tell them I wasn't playing rugby league, and then I was playing, playing on the side and all those little things. But yeah, I got into a bit of mischief early, and I was a bit too big for my boots because, we'll get into it a little bit later, but I started my business when I was 13 years old. So
13, in 13, you're what?
Year 8.
Year 8.
Yeah.
So year 7 now.
Yeah, we're at year 7.
We're going to come up the years.
Let's do it.
What subjects were you into?
And from the jump, I was always a drama kid. Like
drama,
love drama, love English. As you can tell, I can speak underwater, so I love the creative side of life. I was never a numbers man, never into science. Obviously, loved sport, but drama and English and anything where I could tap into my creative side of my brain was my go. So from a very young age, I loved all the creative subjects, art, all that kind of jazz. I was always big into graffitiing legally, guys, graffitiing legally. Yeah. Like I was always into the calligraphy and stuff. So anything creative.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's your tag?
It was actually Orb. ORB. That was my tag. Right. And purely because I used to love Pokemon. So I'm quirky, man.
So if you see Orb or the trains, you know who it is.
You'll never see it. Don't worry, guys. I was only ever doing graffiti legally in art class with Miss Chester. Love you, Miss Chester.
Shout out to Miss Chester.
The best.
All right. So year 8, you said you started a business in year 8?
Yes, sir.
What? In year 8, people are usually just playing handball in the playground. What was that about?
So the story goes, it's an interesting one. So I've got a very close relationship with my cousin. His name's Richie Bolus, and he's he's like my brother. And growing up early on, he always had a fantasy with Tiesto and DJs in general, and Armin van Buuren and whatnot. And he always wanted to be a DJ, right? And so we naturally used to like the partying side of things. Like I know we're 13 years old, but we just used to like energy. You know, we're at a cousin's wedding, we'll dance. You know, we like to have a good time, and so he always wanted to be a DJ. So I went to Lebanon in 2012, and they have these like marketplaces where they sell you fake beats, fake G-Shocks, shoes, all that kind of jazz. And I said, I'll buy my cousin a pair of headphones. With my pocket money. I don't even know how I had any money that time, but got him a pair of headphones and he started practicing on his iPad. He's doing the virtual DJ and whatnot. So to fast forward, that would have been around Christmas 2012. So to fast forward a little bit, it's about March 2013. And, when you're in year 8, so you start to get invited to the 13th birthday parties, and yeah, that's it. I went to a school, you got to get your fresh Vans ready and your snapback.
The Vans, The snapback, yeah.
Yes. And so it was around March 2013, and I went to St. Pat Strathfield, and it was the first kind of party. The client's name was Alicia Muno. She wouldn't mind me saying this because I've said this story a couple of times, and I told her I would always credit her as our first client, Alicia Muno. You know I love you. And so she was having a party, a 13th birthday party, and it was the party where like Santa Sabina was invited, girls from Santa Sabina, girls from Dom Ramey, girls from Rosebank. These are all our neighbouring schools. Boys from Christian Brothers. We're all invited, and it's a Facebook event, And so a month out from her party, she puts in the Facebook group chat, hey guys, does anybody know a DJ or a photographer? My one just pulled out on me. And I looked at that post and I said, that's quite funny. She needs a DJ. Wait a second. She needs a DJ. Richie, my cousin, wants to be a DJ. Richie's got headphones. He's practicing on virtual DJ. He's basically a DJ. She needs a photographer. I'll just go buy a camera and I'll just become a photographer. So like without even thinking about it, I just went straight into messaging her and I said, hey, Alicia, I hope all is well. I'm so sorry to hear about, your DJ and photographer, but funnily enough, myself and my cousin do DJ and photography. She goes, no way. How long have you been doing it for? And I said, we've been doing it for about 2 years now. If she did the math, we would have been 11 years old. I would have been in year 6. I would have been in primary school. And she's like, oh, really? How much do you charge? And I said, charge? I just quickly went online and I saw how much of a camera was, and it was $250 at Harvey Norman, the cheapest, smallest one. I said, $250. I didn't even factor in the fact that we have to buy any of this other gear. And so she goes, yeah, done. Book us in. I said, perfect. I call Richie. Richie, I just got us our first gig. He's like, gig? What do you mean gig? I said, well, you're going to be a DJ. I'm going to be a photographer. Like, Alicia's having a party in a month, and I just got us the gig, man. Let's do it. Freaking hung up on me straight away. Oh, sorry, I just hit the mic. He's hung up on me straight away. He goes, what are you doing? Like, we don't have any gear or anything. I said, man, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. And so it took us a while to even convince our parents. I was making business cards and, polos and tees, spending time. And this is how you know the story's old. There weren't laptops back in the day. So we only had like a family. Well, there were laptops, we just didn't have one. But like we had one family computer doing all the work, and my mum needed to do her emails, and I was spending all afternoon and night making business cards and logos and things like that. And she's like, Matt, I need to use the computer. I'm like, I need to create a business. And so then they disapproved.
Making money.
Yeah, that's it. Making monopoly money at 13, charging $250. And so basically it took a while to convince them to do it. And by the time it got to it, we actually literally only bought the equipment the week of the gig, right? And I'm emailing and messaging Alicia like, yeah, everything's sweet, song requests, this and that. But man, to cut a long story short, because there's so much more to the story, we did our first gig at 13 years old. Absolute fluke. We literally bought this. The speakers were meant to arrive a week prior to the event, and they didn't arrive until the day of the event. So we unopened the box at the gig. We've got photos. I've got photos I can send you of the boxes of speakers. Literally. You know
what? We'll get those photos up on the screen right now.
Yeah, literally. I've got
hook it up.
I've got photos of this whole process, right? And we're walking in, but all my friends are walking into the party, and they're going, "Hey, Matt, you're not a photographer." I'm like, "Shh, don't say anything." And so, like, literally, God was on our side that night, because it was the first time I've ever taken photos. It was the first time Richie's ever DJ'd live. We've just opened our brand new speakers decks. We broke open our piggy banks to spend all this kind of stuff. And man, the rest was history. Like, that was our first gig in March 2013. And then from there, you pick up 2 new clients. And then from there, a couple more and a couple more. And thank God, Encore is now still running 12 years later. There's 28 of us now. We've got a team of DJs, photographers, videographers, security guards, drummers. We've got a photo booth. And man, it's crazy that that's how it all started. It literally all started off a lie. If I'm being honest with you, my career started off a lie, and it was a hope and a dream. And shout out to Alicia Muno for trusting us, because we wouldn't be here today if we never took that leap of faith.
I think at the end of the day, it all starts somewhere, and I think if you talk to business owners and you run it back, especially individuals that are self-made, I don't think anyone has an idea at the start. You make it up.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to. It's
everybody makes everything up.
Well, to be fair with you, you'd know it yourself, being in marketing, right? Like, we're constantly thinking of new ideas. We have to be thinking of new ideas. Someone has to make something up eventually.
Yeah.
And if someone else can, why can't you? You know. So it took that kind of mindset throughout my whole life. And obviously, we were very young when we started. Like, I was emailing clients when I was 14 years old, talking to people having their 21st birthday party, 6 years older than me. And you just got to make it up. You just got to run with it. You got to just find a way.
No, 100%. And from year 8 to year 12, you must have been picking up a lot of work. I'm guessing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, running between events. How'd that go with school?
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely a topic. It would be really good to have my mum or my dad right next to me for them to answer that question. It was, I was obviously playing footy as well at the time. So myself and Richie, we were a two-man team really for the first couple of years. We ended up getting a couple of our friends to join in probably about 2 years, maybe around 2015. So you're right. Like, our weekends were just full of events, footy. We were playing footy together. We would, work a Friday night sometimes, and then a Saturday morning I'd be playing rugby for the school. Then Saturday night we'd be DJing and taking photos again, so the second gig for the weekend. And then Sunday we'd play rugby league together. So our weekends, man, from that 2013 to 2015 were just so full on, and they were just awesome, because we were venturing to different parts of Sydney, whether we were playing rugby league, rugby union, or DJing and taking photos. We saw so much of Sydney by the time we were like 15 years old, and you start to learn about the tendencies of people and cultures. And we grew up really, really fast because of that fast-paced life. And I wouldn't have had it any other way. It's definitely a story that I don't think many could ever say they've even heard of before, to be honest with you. Like I said, I was 14 years old, emailing 16, 21-year-olds, sometimes even 30 at birthday parties. We were servicing when I was like 15 years old. These guys are 15 years older than me. But yeah, it was just a blessing. It was awesome.
But I guess, to be honest, 15-year-old Matty Georges, I'm guessing, got the beard.
100%.
Probably look 30 yourself.
Well, you've seen the movie The Dictator. Like, I was born with a beard.
Yeah, well, that helps. I'm still waiting for mine, mate. But
it's still coming. That's the difference between us Greeks and us Lebos, man.
I'm supposed to be hairy. I don't know what's going on here.
You're clean shaven. You're a clean shaven man. Everything you do is clean. You got your RMs, your fresh RMs. It's funny you've got your RMs. So this is a little bit of a segue for that, because obviously, like I said before, I'm a proud Lebanese Australian, and we like to gift people. We like to gift people a lot.
We don't like to come empty-handed.
Never.
I
And I know
wogs are the same.
And I wanted to actually get you a gift,
Okay,
right?
You've brought something.
I've brought something for you, right? I don't know how I'm gonna have to hand this over to you, but like I said, you're a clean-cut man all the time. I tried to get you something that I feel like you needed. I had a look through your Instagram, and you're always wearing RM Williams, right? So me and my brother used to
You didn't need it, mate. You
sell
didn't need
some shoes. So this is for you. I'm gonna just
Sell some
hand this
shoes,
over.
eh?
Yeah, we used to sell shoes.
Matty, what didn't you sell?
Yeah. That's a story for another time. But I thought I'd give you a gift of shoes. So
What have we got here? He's got a nice card. Loner Kicks.
Loner Kicks, baby.
I like. Snapper flip. Always hustling, eh?
Always.
Shout out to Loner. Is Loner Kicks, is that yours?
Yeah, me and my brother. We used to sell during
another one,
COVID. We've slowed down a little bit now, but
there you go. If you want kicks, goddamn. Blue and white too.
blue and white Greek Bulldogs. I thought of all.
There you go.
And I know your tagline
I
is
love 'em.
you like to make noise. You know, I know you're a very loud character, so I figured you
Mate,
need
it's
some
perfect.
polar blue
perfect.
Nike Dunks.
Man, thank you, man.
No stress,
Thank you,
brother.
thank you.
No stress. We'll give an air handshake. And whilst we're in the middle of gift giving as well, I feel like it's only right if we crack open a cold one.
Yeah, let's do it. What do you got
are we
there?
allowed to do that?
We're allowed to do that, man.
We're allowed to do that. So this is
We're both over 18. Let's do it.
perfect. So this is another business that I'm a part of. I obviously do the social media marketing and the creative director role at Strider Brewing Co. And got a little bit of a piece of the pie there as well. So I've brought you over some.
Well, that's the Nick Curios.
This is Nick Curios's beer, guys. So yeah, so Nick's obviously a very good friend of mine, and the owners of Strider, we sounded each other out and eventually started working together. But this is the newest beer on the market that
Twist
everyone's
top
talking
before I
about.
embarrass myself.
Twist top, of course.
Easy,
Let's
easy.
just make sure there's no spray on that. Yep, there we go. We're good.
There you go.
We're good. We're a little bit further away from each other right here.
All right. Yamas.
Yamas. There we go.
Yamas.
Cheers.
Yamas.
How'd you go?
Shout out to Nick Curios.
Shout out, brother. We say gesak in
Gesak?
Arabic. Gesak. So cheers, brother.
So tell us about this beer, man. Strider.
So Strider.
How good's the ASMR here? Look.
Look at that, show it. Oh, yum. Yum. Nothing like a Strider. Man, Strider's awesome. So Strider's an Aussie-owned beer, Aussie brewed. So we actually brewed out of Tribe Brewery in Goulburn. And
Tried?
Sorry? Tribe Brewery,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's actually one of the biggest breweries in New South Wales. It's awesome facility, and man, we're just we're the Aussie battlers at the moment. You know, like the beer market's dominated by brands, you know, like VB, Great Northern, that all are Aussie beers, but they're owned by Japanese, they're owned by Chinese, and so we're one of the only few left that are Aussie owned, Aussie brewed. You know, it's made for us.
You say VB's not Aussie?
VB is not Aussie.
What? The long neck at 8 in the morning?
The long neck at 8 in the morning is not Aussie, man. It's not Aussie. It's not owned by. They're not owned by Australians. So we're here to.
How are they not Aussie? Look at the commercials.
Yep.
You're kidding me.
Exactly.
So where does it come from?
I'm pretty sure they're owned by Japanese or Chinese. Like they're like obviously like
Chinese.
Asahi, CUB, these massive companies. They
Wow.
come in and they take over these big beer brands, and you know, credit to them. Obviously, like they're obviously being sold at lucrative prices. But man, we're the underdog. We're the underdog. We're still punching above our weight, and you know, we're obviously the name Strider has a resemblance to Straya. And we're the Aussie brand that is trying to take on the world, man. Similar to what Nick does for us on a world stage in tennis, and you know, we're having a crack, and we're doing really, really well. It's been an awesome journey. I've been with Strider for about nearly 6 months now, and
6 months, eh?
it's been so enjoyable. Like our team that we've got, our owners, the energy around the whole brand. I love a company that isn't afraid to, you know, break barriers and kind of walk their own line and destroy stereotypes. And if you look at like our branding, like even from like a black can, when we have our cans and our silver cans, like you don't really see them with beer companies. It's usually always the same type of color. So I'm super proud to be a member of Strider, and I love it. And I'm glad we got to crack open a cold one just then.
No, awesome. That really interesting. The beer market. It's a you do see a lot of craft beer popping up. It's
Craft beer seems to be the trend. It's personally not for me.
but that's not craft beer. What's the difference between craft beer? What is craft beer?
In layman's terms, craft beer is like fruity. You know what I
Okay,
mean? It's like the
right.
softer beer, whereas
Okay.
like we're a lager, right? And a lager, and to give you an example, is like the old traditional. Remember, like, you know, you've probably seen your grandfathers or your uncles crack open a Crown. You know, those old
yeah.
like a lager. It's stronger beer. It's obviously like a higher alcohol percentage. There's a little bit more yeast to it as well, so it's a little bit thicker. Craft beers are fruitier, tingly. You know what I mean?
There
It's for the youngies. And don't get me wrong, our Strider ingredients though resemble. It is a full strength lager. It's a 4.4% lager. But our ingredients, be it there's no preservatives. It's tailor suited for the younger sessionable drinker. So you can have about 5 of those and you won't feel bloated. Whereas if you had 5 Coronas or if you had 5 Crowns, you'll be bloated.
Where do you see Strider in 5 years' time?
On the moon.
On the moon, eh?
On the moon. Nah, we're 5 years time from now. The sky is honestly the limit. And I know that's such a cliche that they say in business, but the way Strider's moving already, like within our first year of operations, we're already in Dan Murphy's online already. It's moving very quickly. We've got quite a number of retailers across the country as well, where we've got our contracts in place there. sponsoring events like Ultra Music Festival. You know,
Cool.
so like we're moving very differently to others and traditionally, and it even stems through, you know, to a minute level, like our marketing. Like even from my role, you know, you turn on the TV and you'll see marketing ads for Great Northern, for VB, and they're camping and it's nice. It's the fishing trips, it's all that. Whereas for us, we're not afraid to, you know, like I said, break stereotypes and do things edgier and cooler, and our branding is elite. So genuinely, it's in 5 years' time, I can't see why Strider wouldn't be the biggest beer in the country, and if not the world. You know, especially from when you look at Aussie beers on the international stage, right? People will know Foster's, obviously. Outside of Australia, not many people know brands like VB and whatnot. So I can really see Strider being a household name right up there with Foster's, and really showing the world why Australian beer is the best beer, because Australian produce is the best produce in the world.
Yeah. And really, I mean, like, you get an individual on your team, Nick Kyrgios, he doesn't like losing too.
Nah, not at all. He's a stubborn man. He's competitive as all. And to be honest with you,
rip in.
Nah, he loves it. And to be fair with you, since he's come on board at Strider, you can just see the energy in the office and the team. Everyone knows that the standards need to rise. He's actually a leader among men. He's one of the most misunderstood characters I know, to be honest with you. He's a very, very interesting cat, man. He's a really cool dude. And like you said, he's got that presence on the world stage where, you know, he's a needle mover, you know, so.
Because it's interesting. I mean, you know, you hear all the media, you know, they paint this picture, you know, one of the lazier tennis players or whatever it may be, but take a step back. You need to put in serious discipline, work, consistency, the whole thing, because they paint this whole other picture, right?
Well, to break it down even further, where he made it out of as well is a credit to his work ethic, right? Like, he's a kid from Canberra, right? He got it.
What's up with Canberra?
There's not many people to choose from in Canberra in terms of tennis players, but no, he's a relentless worker. It's upsetting to see how the media portray him.
It's the Greek in him.
It's the Greek in him. Yeah, we'll use that. But genuinely, like, the media love to paint a villain out of anyone, and we know that villains sell stories. And he's an outspoken character. He's unashamedly himself, and he's not your typical white collar, white shoes, very nice and dressed elegant tennis player with a nice haircut that you would normally see. No, he's brash. He's got his tattoos. He's got his eyebrows slit, and he walks his own way and he beats to his own drum. So people perceive that as him being a villain and him being this monster just purely because he's different. But I think his unique nature should be celebrated rather than put down, to be fair with you. And if you look at American athletes, right, especially in America, let's look at NFL players. You got guys like Odell Beckham Jr., who, you know, they're flashy, they've got their blonde hair, and then they do their moonwalking and backflips and all that kind of stuff, and we celebrate that. But in Australia, anyone who's a little bit of a showman, anyone who's got a little bit of flavor and character, we'd like to put them down. There's a little bit of tall poppy syndrome when it comes to Australian media and Australian athletes. I think in our nature, we're not one of those kind of countries where we like to celebrate outspoken, colorful characters. We kind of feel like, oh, you're almost trying to be American, whereas America, they celebrate that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how the media perceive Nick, and it's purely him just speaking his mind and generally speaking what most people are thinking. But the media like to take that and run with it another way. So he's a very misunderstood character, very misunderstood.
Well, at the end of the day, he sells out stadiums.
100%.
You know, props to him. But let's run it back. We're on the Matty George's podcast.
Let's do it.
All right, let's run it back. Okay, so you are making cash money from year 8 to year 12. Where's the money going?
To be honest with you,
tell the truth.
I'm actually not a.
Where are you hiding the money, Matty?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I was always one, especially at a young age, to be shouting the boys, like the canteen.
That's a lot of shouting, man.
Well, man, when I moved over to Newington, right?
Yeah.
I was considered a Westie, you know, living out in Strathfield. So I was catching the Western line, right? And obviously I had a bit of money because I was working on the weekends and we're in year 11 and whatnot. Not many people had jobs. So I'm catching the train with a lot of the Tongans and the Samoans from out west, Mount Druitt. And we get to the corner shop and we get off the train and the boys are like, oh, Matty, reckon you can get me a chicken stick, or can you give me some chips? The boys know, like Tommy, Marker, Tolu Kula, who plays in the NRL now. All you lads, you guys owe me some freaking chicken, man. You
How
guys,
many Chico rolls?
oh my days, man. That's where the money was going. But,
That's how they got size from Matty George's shouting.
100%. Now it was awesome, man. Like I was always a guy that liked to shout the boys and whatnot, but also at the same token, I'm not a flashy guy. I don't like to wear crazy brands. I didn't really like, even now to this day, I don't even drive crazy cars. I'm not a flashy dude. I do like to spend my money on experiences, holidays, whenever I get a chance to get away from work. Obviously, I like my Marvel and my DC, so I love all my quirky stuff. And my office is a bit of a Marvel DC museum. I've always loved like my WWE, my titles. I like all the novelty stuff. And then to give you the sensible answer, camera gear, and back into the business.
It adds up. But yeah. I think that's, super important. You get a lot of, successful individuals out there. They make a lot of money, but they spend a lot of money. And I think that if you can be consistent and put back in and be happy with delayed gratification, not get caught up in the flashy things, because it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you love your Rolexes and if you love your flashy stuff and you live a high life and the rest of it, sacrifice today for tomorrow's betterment.
Well, I'm always and I agree with all that, and I'm a firm believer in you want to buy things that just make you happy, right?
Yes.
I'm not one of these guys that whilst I do save as much as I can, I
the
just
Lebanese in you.
Yeah, of course, has to be. I genuinely I like to always be happy, man.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds crazy, but like if I feel like I want to buy that lightsaber, I want to buy that lightsaber. And the reason being because, man, if you can just stay as happy, everyone's in this rat race whether it be to make $1 million. Everyone's in a race to make $1 million or race to make a certain amount. Genuinely, in my opinion, I think it's almost a race against mental health as people, right? If you can stay happy for as long as you can, things will come to you naturally. And this goes to another, I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, but like even you just want to be happy for as long as you can, because, for example, when opportunities come to present themselves, you need to be in that right mindset to be able to take on those opportunities. And if you're not in that right mindset, whether it be because you're stressing over, hey, I spent too much on this Rolex and I can't actually afford anything else. If you're thinking about other things, that, especially when it comes to from a finance standpoint, if you're thinking, overthinking, you're going to miss the opportunities that come to you. So as crazy as this is, me going to EB Games and buying that lightsaber that I love, and that just feeds my happiness a little bit. The next day I get a DM from an athlete, or I meet someone out on the street, and because I'm in this controlled state of mind and I'm a happy person, and I've got inner peace, I can actually take these opportunities head on. So I genuinely believe in keeping yourself happy, and if it means that you're buying things to make yourself happy, look, obviously not going crazy, but don't feel guilty to keep yourself happy, because happiness at the end of the day is what's actually going to make you the most money out of anything, to be fair with you. Because you need to be in the right mindset to take opportunities and work head on.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you could be at a restaurant and you're sitting there and you can feel when you've got an individual. You don't even have to look at them. They could be walking past you, behind you. They could be walking, off to the side of you. And you get individuals that release a frequency. And it's a real thing.
100%.
An electromagnetic frequency that people in that restaurant will kind of just turn. And even though they could be in a restaurant, by the time they walk out, they'll have 4 or 5 people, that they would have had a light chat to, a new relationship. Things open up. It's the law of attraction. Law of attraction, yeah.
I'm a massive believer in that, and words like aura, and the Polynesians use the word mana. It's a big thing. It's a massive thing, and
it means mum in Greek, mana.
Mana, does it?
It is a big thing.
Yeah, right. Big thing for you.
Yeah.
But no, I genuinely believe in like you said, the energy that someone brings to any situation and scenario. And for me myself, I like to keep my energy consistent the whole way through anything that I'm doing. And inner peace and happiness and confidence in yourself, which I'm very blessed. I was gifted with at a young age, that I've always been quite confident in myself, but also not being able to walk in your own shoes and be comfortable, not trying to be anyone else. And that kind of comes back to, like you said, what do you spend your money on? And my answer was like lightsabers and, you know, Thor hammers and stuff like that, because I walk my own path and I do things my own way, and I'm very confident and comfortable in my own skin. And I really hope that people start to realize that you don't need to be buying Rolexes to be comfortable, or to be buying the flashy brands to be comfortable. It's really about, you know, yourself. You know what I mean?
We've ripped into Rolex today, haven't we?
We really have, man. It's a good brand. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it. But
it'd be nice to have a Rolex.
It would be nice. It would be nice. But you get the sentiment.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. And I think to boot, in this day and age, business is getting more and more challenging.
100%.
And I think the window of success is the window of opportunity is getting smaller and smaller. As this country grows, it's getting more competitive. House pricing goes up. All the challenges, and I think that you need to be sharp with where your money goes, because it's competitive out there.
Definitely.
So I think you need to stay on your toes and reinvest and chip away and stay authentic and obviously relationships. Take care of people.
Massive. It's to be fair with you, what you just said there, and not to pump my own tires up, but the relationship aspect is probably the thing I value the most about the businesses that I run now. I've been in business technically for 12 years now. So
25-year-old, eh?
Yeah, I'm 25 years old. Feeling old.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so 25 years old now, and you know, the way I treat relationships in business has definitely changed from when I was 13 to now. But one thing I can say that I've maintained the whole way through, and this is a credit to my parents and my upbringing and my strong Lebanese roots, is to take care of people as if they're your own family. You know what I mean? When it comes to even pricing things up, you know, I don't really look too much about what other competitors are pricing. I think, what would I want to spend if that was my daughter's birthday, or if I'm gifting someone, what would I actually want to spend? That's the way I conduct business, how I would want to be treated if I was the consumer. And I know that's a bit of a cliche, but a lot of people, and I feel like the first thing people do when they start a business, or when they're looking to set their menu prices or any prices, they start to look around rather than within. You know what I mean? And from the jump, if you're looking around too much, if you're looking at what other people are doing, well, then there's an element to your business that's not 100% authentic. The first place you should look is within. I look within for all answers, for all situations. I say, what would I want to do if I was on the receiving end of anything? And like I said, whether that be pricing our photographers for our events, or whether it be pricing our services for our social media marketing agency, it's always good to just look within first before you look around. And that just stems from back to everything we've been circling back and saying,
DNA,
confidence and DNA.
Yeah. Okay, so you come out of school, year 12. What's going on in Matty's life?
Yeah, so I ticked the box for my parents, and I enrolled in uni. So I studied social media. I don't even remember what I studied, man. Media and communications.
Your parents are watching.
Well, this is funny because I've said this on podcasts after, but like so it was a 3-year course, media and communications. Did the first year, did absolutely nothing, in the sense of I had a lot of friends that were doing a lot of my uni work for me. Shout out Brittany Youssef and Anna Mansfield, legends. But I went to uni, but at the same token, I was still doing Encore and I was still doing events, but it wasn't enough. Obviously, you're working Friday, Saturday, Sunday when everyone else is starting to get part-time jobs, and events only really run on the weekend. So I needed something to do midweek, and it all started with myself getting a haircut from my barber, and he said, you know, this is the local barber in Croydon. Now he's Luomo in Drummoyne. I'm just giving out shout outs wherever I can to small businesses. Love my guys. And he asked me, would you be able to do a promotional video? You know, you have a camera. And I said, well, I've never done one before, but sure, why not? Like, we can do that. And I started from there. Like, you obviously start doing a promotional video for your barbershop, and then, you know, the local real estate agency says, hey, can you do a video for us? And then another company, cafe, and it all starts to snowball. So for that first year out of uni, I was doing small jobs here and there whilst also studying, and that was filling up my Monday to Friday, and then events into the weekends. And we maintained a certain level all the way up to COVID. And I was working out of an office in on Harris Street in the city, so I was working out of the WeWork there when I was 18 years old, and then
Must
eventually.
feel like a boss going into the city. We work.
100%.
Got around.
Well, Sundays were spent at Marco Polo,
Yeah.
you know, and then after Marco Polo, you want to kick on somewhere. So I was like, come to my office, guys. Let's go to my office. Let's kick on there. So it was awesome. But Marco Polo, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a beach club. It was like a pool club. But
It's still open, yeah?
no, it's
Show
not.
it.
The Ivy Pool Club now is Jimmy's Rooftop,
Jimmy's Rooftop.
owned by Jimmy's Falafel. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
Sorry to
Is
trigger
it Crank?
you. No. Like it's not. It's a bar. It's a pub. Like it's not really a.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because I remember Marco Polo used to go. So where's the Lebanese community going now?
Noir,
Right?
Noir, Sydney, Sea Deck, you know,
Sea
Glass Island. I'm just pumping up all the guys that I do work with and my family friends. They're the best clubs in Sydney. But so obviously I was working there, and then you know, COVID happened in 2020. So 2018, 2019, consistently getting jobs here and there, but COVID was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. That was the best thing for myself as a business owner, and was the best thing for myself as a person, because really COVID told businesses, whether you are a house of bricks or if you're a house of cards, if you're able to adapt and become malleable, almost, you know, chameleon-like, where you can shift and pivot, right? You would survive. So, man, I was obviously doing a little bit of social media marketing during COVID, but not to the level that we are now. And COVID obviously shut down all our events, so we had to adapt. And we said, well, how else are we going to make our money, right? Like we can't rely on our events and on Encore anymore. Let's open up a social media marketing agency and start targeting companies that especially own e-com products as well, because they still need to run whilst it's COVID. So we started doing a lot of photo shoots in-house. I had an office in Enfield at the time, and we built out our own little studio. Like the building's gone now, so I can say it. We carved like the carpet out, turned the wall, and we got cement, and we created one of the walls into an infinity wall. Yeah, we made our own little studio. The place is knocked down now, so I can say whatever I want. But yeah, like we literally just occupied like a vacant room and
shout out to the landlord.
Yep, shout out to the landlord. And so we turned it into a little studio, and that became our bread and butter, e-com photography and social media marketing through there. And as that all progressed, we started to build up a massive portfolio and started to get a lot more work in the sense of a lot of marketing agencies and whatnot. So from there, man, COVID really helped us. And then once the events picked up back on again, we had, you know, two healthy businesses. We had Matina Inceptive, which is our social media marketing agency, which was doing quite well.
Matina Incentive, what's that word about?
So Matina, right? It sounds, you know, very exotic. It sounds very cool.
It sounds
and
like a Latina, South American.
It does.
Name.
You want to laugh? It's literally just my name and my fiance's name mixed together.
There you go.
Matt, Angelina, Matina. Boom.
Okay, awesome. So, fiance, you guys have
work together.
Yeah, work together. Wow.
Yeah. So I know it's taken me so long to mention Ange. Sorry, Ange. You know I love you. And it's funny, like it's taken me this long to mention her, because she is the backbone of all the companies that I own and that I'm a part of. Like I know Con Didi's actually used this quote in one of his podcasts. If he's the face of the business, she's the neck, back, spine, shoulders. Like, and that's Ange. Ange is everything to us in terms of, when I say us, be it myself and anyone that works at all of our businesses, man. She's awesome.
And when did Ange come into the picture?
So Ange came into the picture just before COVID. So yeah, around 2019, 2020. And man, she was...
Did you get these dates right? She's watching.
Yeah, no, I know the dates. Don't worry. I'm trying to let off more than I actually know. Don't worry. I know the exact date. June 19th, 2019, met her. And then I asked her out 27th of March, 2020. Love you, Ange. But yeah, so she was a massive driving force behind that change during COVID. You know, I was quite comfortable doing what we're doing. I was also cutting hair during COVID as well. I know this is so random. I'm just jumping left, right, and center, but was cutting hair.
Where were you cutting hair?
Well, it was lockdown, so I don't know how much I can say. I was cutting hair in my backyard. And then I was cutting hair in my office. So yeah, I used to have about 10 haircuts a day. Because naturally, as a Lebanese man, you know how to cut hair. Obviously,
You need to be fresh.
always you need to be fresh for those like live streams that you were doing. I remember House Party and all those kind of apps and TikTok and whatnot. So I was cutting about 10 people's hair a day. It was wild. It was so fun. So between that. And obviously, like there being no events, Ange was the driving force in saying, let's get this social media marketing agency started and let's push. She's awesome. She's my rock, and she's the hardest worker I know. She works with me every day in the office till around 3:00, and then she goes and is the manager at her parents' restaurant in Bella Vista.
Oh wow, what's that?
It's called Jag's Restaurant.
Okay.
So she's working with me every single day, and then goes and works at her family restaurant every night.
Wow.
So she works 7 days a week and no complaints. She's a machine. She's a gun.
Well, that moves mountains, doesn't it?
Oh, it's you can't do this alone. You can't walk this journey. You can't walk this life, especially in, let's be real, in today's economy. And you can't, and just in today's life with so many problems, it's so hard to navigate through by yourself. You need a companion. You need Batman needs a Robin. And in this instance, I'm Batman and I've got Superman with me. I'm so lucky. Like she's an absolute champion and she's such a hard worker. I'm so lucky. Like I wouldn't be sitting here right now talking to you if I never met her. That's a fact.
There you go. Now that's awesome. So business partners too?
Yeah, business partners. It's been an awesome journey, man. Like we've been working together for about 3 or 4 years now, every day in the office, about 3 years, and I love it. Like I love rocking up to work every single day. She's the best, and we still haven't had an argument yet. It's been nearly 5 years now. We haven't even had an argument yet. So I wonder if we had one, who would win. I'd probably be such a simp and just let her win because I love her too much. But yeah, she's awesome. So we're business partners, man.
Awesome. So, I mean, usually I do these stories on Lot podcasts, and go year by year, and we get to, they're usually you're the youngest guy that's come on board. So wow. There you go. I guess that 25 years old.
25 years old. I probably look about 45, but I'll say
we're here, 25 years old. Let's run it back. If you could give one piece of advice to a 10-year-old Matty Georges, what would it be?
I said at the start of the podcast off air that you couldn't throw me a question that would stump me, but man, I would, the advice I would tell him is to have a crack. Like just be super authentic and have a dig at everything that you do. Don't ever worry about what anyone thinks, says, or does, because your path is your path. And I've done that for the majority of my life so far. But there have been moments where I've probably been hesitant to pull the trigger on an idea or on anything in life, and I regret that now looking back, because at the end, like I said, the biggest race amongst anything is the race against mental health. You know what I mean? You need to stay happy for as long as possible, and I was always a happy person, so there was never ever a reason for me to not pull the trigger on certain things. So my advice would be just to have a crack at anything you want to do in life. Like there is never a wrong answer there is never a wrong way to do things when you're trying to walk your own path, and just to be you, man, because it takes you places. I've been so lucky, like through this journey, I've done things that I never thought I would ever do. Like I worked at the Rugby League World Cup. I worked at the Qatar FIFA World Cup. I worked at the NBA Finals. I've serviced countless events. I've worked with some of the most amazing athletes and figures around the world. Guys like Nick Kyrgios, Theo Von, Mark Burris, like just to name a few. Like been so lucky. So, and that all came from having a crack. But I wish I did that more when I was younger, because who knows where we could have been.
Well, you were 13. I mean, you did all right. 13.
We did all right. We did all right in the end. But there's you know what guys like us are like. We're never satisfied.
Always looking for the next thing. But what I'm hearing is, you grew up naturally. You had the gift of the gab from a young age. Talented on the sporting field, but um, you didn't let that, you didn't let those gifts virtually um, take them for granted. You backed it up with hard work ethic, and from, you stayed on track when it came to just having a great work ethic and putting your energy in the right places, being authentic, um, and that's just, it sounds like you've just been very consistent year on year, just being you and putting in the work, sacrificing today for tomorrow's betterment. And well, I mean, 25 years old, you've got a whole number of businesses, massive future ahead, um, and I feel like it's a future that you know I don't know, 35 Matty Georges. You either you've gone from a big company to working in the World Cups to working at I don't know exactly where you're going to be, but you're going to be doing something or many things. I can't put my finger on it, but it's going to be wild. I'd like to run this podcast in 10 years time.
The funniest part out of that is if you don't know where I'll be in 10 years, I don't even know where I'm going to be in 10 days, to be honest with you. So I don't even know where this crazy world will take us. But all I know is that, there's none of this would have been possible without, obviously strong faith in God and inner happiness, man. Inner happiness. Like I've said, every key decision I've been able to make and every amazing opportunity I've been able to take in my life is purely because I'm confident in myself and I'm happy. You know what I mean? So whatever it is, to anyone that's listening, like, find your happiness, because things will come to everyone eventually, but you need to be in a good state of mind to be able to take those opportunities and to be able to take that leap of faith. If you don't have inner happiness, none of it will be possible. And, I'm very lucky that a lot of that comes through faith, through God, through a strong upbringing, and a very, very blessed childhood.
Yeah, and I would like to add one thing that I've always admired about yourself is, you know, I'm a marketing agency owner. You're a marketing agency owner, but you've always had absolutely zero hostility and zero kind of ego when it comes to. I mean, we're two individuals in the same industry. Yes, the we both know that there's a massive market out there. There's enough for everybody, but just being able to kick back and just be on the same page and talk a little bit of shop with just zero ego. It's refreshing. It's how it should be.
100%.
It is refreshing.
And I to be honest with you, I hate nothing more than when people come to any situation or any relationship with anyone with an ego. I've said it to you from the jump. Like, to be fair with you, I hate nothing more than when people come in and they say, they pretend like they don't know someone, right? And they go, "Hi, Matt, nice to meet you, but I don't know who you are." Bull. I don't like. I'm going to talk from my experience. I know who Ari George is. I know who YK Marketing is. You guys are the best marketing agency in Sydney. Like, and I came in here to this podcast studio, and I'm like, man, I've seen this all over Instagram. I like this place. This is Ari George, and like, I'm going over to the other office over there, and there's nothing worse than when people start a relationship, and even people come to this. I get asked this question quite a fair bit about networking. How do I network? How do I network? To me, I think there's nothing worse than when someone could give you an answer on how to network, right? Because networking should come through a natural, authentic relationship, right? Yes. When I'm at an event, right, and I know that there's going to be an athlete there or an entrepreneur there or someone that could progress my business or someone that I could do work with, there would be absolutely nothing worse than for me to go in there with a tactic to network with him, because I would be starting our relationship off on an unauthentic note. There would be nothing worse, in my opinion. I build all my relationships based on authenticity. If I go to an event where there's someone there that I should be networking with, and I miss the opportunity and it just didn't come up, it didn't come up. That's how it should be. I'm never going to be the one to force it, because anytime you force a relationship, you're automatically starting that relationship with a hidden agenda, right? If you're going to a place to
people
network,
can smell it, can't they?
Yeah, and it's not even, it's not nice, in my opinion. Like, anytime you meet someone, you need to go in there 100% authentic, no hidden agendas. And again, that's not me being unambitious or not taking on opportunities, but just be you.
Yeah.
Be confident in yourself.
And I think more than anything, I think successful people, athletes, superstars, they can smell it more than anybody, because they've obviously got hundreds and thousands of people approaching them nonstop, just wanting to partner and align and the rest of it. And I think when they see that, it just must be like the ick for them. It's like, here we go.
100%.
And they see authenticity, they're probably like, okay, cool. Like, okay, we're good.
100%. And I'd like to think that's how I built my relationships with, a number of the NRL boys that I've worked with, guys like Nick, Mark Burris and whatnot. Like, it's all built on authenticity. I know who you guys are. I'm not going to pretend like I don't know who you guys are. Some of you guys are my childhood heroes. And part of me acts a little bit like a fan when I'm with them sometimes. And that's,
You forget, don't you?
yeah, but you know what? Like, that's me.
Yeah.
I don't resent that, and I don't take that back. Sometimes I will act out as a fan, but you know what? That is me. If I tried to be all macho and actually too cold about it, then that's also not being authentic at all. So you've got to just be yourself in all aspects. Obviously, you got to know where the line is, of course. But yeah, man, and it's like I knew, like when I first met you, like I know who you are. I've been following you for a while, and
But where did we catch up?
man, maybe the first one would have been maybe Montessori. I reckon.
Yeah,
The
yeah, but
Montessori
no,
event.
I knew exactly who you are, Matty George. It's one of those things where uh, there's certain individuals out there, that are just going to be successful, and I think one of the traits, I sometimes see, agency owners coming through the ranks or whatever it may be, and you can pick it. Like you could see someone like in their first year, like you already know they're going to be successful. It's those individuals that virtually put themselves out there, and yourself being I mean, you're on the tools. You go out to the events. You're speaking with everyone. Good things are going to happen. You talk to 100 people. One of those individuals are going to be like, yeah, "Come over here. I need you." Um, Good things happen when you work hard and you put yourself out there. The business owners that don't lock themselves away, but they get out, on the front, relationships,
100%.
and it's a testament. I mean, from the age of 13, you're DJing all these parties. You're out there. You're putting in the work. It's the inevitable. And when you just take care of people, be a good bloke, you're gonna be successful. It's actually not rocket science. We talk about competition. It's not rocket science. Just work hard, put yourself out there, and chip away. I think the other thing is individuals, they try to make a quick dollar. They want to see the success quit. It's okay. Longevity. It's this is a marathon, not a sprint.
100%. 100%. And yeah, man, like we said at the start, like we value our relationships more than anything, being from the cultures that we are. And myself being out on the tools and getting to know people and clients itself, it's puts a name to the face, and they're very much so similar to what you've done. That's how I came to know you. You were always in front of the camera. You were always explaining what you were doing at shoots. You were there. You were present. It's a sense of comfort, and that's how I came to admire you. I'm not just saying this because we're talking to each other, one another, and we're at a YK marketing production. I don't really look up to many people, truthfully. I don't really have many inspirations. Obviously, that's not me being arrogant at all. It's just who I am. I'm very much so one of those guys that likes to focus on himself, and I'm always trying to build up myself. But from an industry standpoint, if there was ever someone that I'm like, that's the guy, that's the North Star, that's the industry leader, that's the someone that I want to be able to say, I've worked like him, it's Ari George from YK Marketing. That's the truth. It's the truth, man.
That's too much.
It's the truth.
That's too much.
And I'm not just saying it because we're here on the podcast. Like everything I say, I don't beat around the bush, and I'm not a guy that will mince his words or throw some spice. That's the truth. Like you have been an industry leader for a while. You've been a guy that's paved the way. You can always smell a copycat as well. And you can see it every now and again. People like to pop up every now and again and try to replicate the Ari flavor, but it's there's only one Ari George, there's only one YK Marketing. It's the truth.
Shit, I think I'm gonna you cut that up to you. We'll make it nice. Anyway, well, thank you. The kicks, you've outdone yourself. The beer Strider, I'm going to be seeing that everywhere. I mean, I saw it on the
100%.
news the other day. I've seen it I've been seeing it popping on social media. I can't wait to see where that whole Strider brand goes. I see it. I mean, you got Matty Georges and Nick Kyrgios, what can go wrong?
100%, 100%. A lot could go wrong, but yeah, a lot could go right.
That's it. Anyway, well, thank you for coming on the Stories Unlocked podcast. Youngest ever individual coming on board. But hey, really, really good chat. And yeah, the hustle. You may, we get so many stories of individuals that, you know, they came with nothing from overseas and they had to work from that. But you're an individual, you know, you went to Newington, you probably didn't have to work from the age of 13, morning to night, 7 days a week. You didn't have to do it. And it's always great when you see individuals that, you know, just because they've come from a great family and a stable family, they put in the work, they work hard, they work like they got nothing. And I love that. I love that. That's awesome. And yeah, well, thank you for coming.
You're the man. Thank you, Ari. Thank you.
I'll give you a high five.
Thank you, Tio, as well, for producing. Thank you, Tio. Deserves all the raps.
All right.
Let's
Cheers.
go. Cheers, brother.
Yeah,
Cheers.
nice.